You've got $100,000, and in one hand you have Showcase Comics number 4, the first appearance of Silver Age Flash, and in the other you have a copy of Fantastic Four number 1, the first appearance of this amazing team. Which would you choose, and how would you make that decision? Let's see what $100,000 would fetch in each book, and then on to the showdown. In 2021, 2 copies of Showcase number 4 sold for about $75,000. The market has gone up since then, so I think $100,000 would be about right for a 7.5 copy. For FF number 1, a 7.5 sold for a blistering $168,000, but a 5.0 sold for just over $50,000 recently. So let's say that $100,000 will get you about a 6.5 these days. Let's move to the showdown. These books are going to compete in 5 rounds. Historical significance. Showcase number 4 came out in 1956, and Fantastic Four number 1 came out in 1961. Without a doubt, these are the 2 most important books of the Silver Age. Fantastic Four was Marvel's first foray into superheroes in the Silver Age. It was the bona fide hit that propelled Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and colleagues to create the most awesome run of new characters in series since the late 30s and early 40s. Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Avengers, X-Men, Daredevil, and many others would follow in the next 3 years. How in the world, then, could a book be more important than that? Well, I'll argue that Showcase number 4 is historically more significant. In fact, it's so influential that it is considered the marker of the Silver Age. The books before it, the Golden Age. Showcase 4 and the books after it, the Silver Age. Why is it so important? When Showcase number 4 came out, the comic book industry and especially superheroes were on life support. In the years after WW2, interest in superheroes began to tank. Once popular series were discontinued: Wonder Woman, Captain America, Marvel Mystery, and a host of others. The bread and butter of the early 1950s, horror and crime books, were crushed by congressional hearings and the comic book code. Then boom, the Golden Age superhero was brought back and refashioned for modern times, renewing interest in superheroes and breathing life back into a dying medium. So I give the slight edge to Showcase number 4 in this epic round. If you enjoyed this Grail Showdown, please consider giving this video a like, or better yet, even subscribe. Round 2, coolness of the covers. Both are classic. In my opinion, the DC and Marvel team spent a little more time on the art than they did on other covers of the period. The Flash running so fast that he literally pops out of the film. What a cool concept. In this Carmine Infantino and Joe Kubert cover, he's looking so much better than his Golden Age getup. The Barry Allen version of Flash is saying, "I'm back, baby, and better than ever." I also love the FF1 cover. It marks this transition from bigger-than-life monsters that Kirby had been drawing in Tales to Astonish, mixed with this new age of superheroes. If you know Kirby but had never seen this cover, you would immediately identify it as being drawn by Kirby. He had found his unique style by this point. The monster, the perspective, the characters, all awesome. And the colors just pop. I like the art a little bit better in Fantastic Four number 1, but I like the concept better in Showcase number 4. So for this particular round, let's call it a draw. Popularity of the characters today. This is another really tight round. The Flash and the Fantastic Four characters are relatively well known. The Flash has had some limited exposure on the big screen, but has much more success on the small screen. On the other hand, Fantastic Four has had several movies related to it, and all of them have been, at best, modest successes. And certainly, these characters can't hold a candle to some of the major DC and Marvel characters. For example, Batman, Spider-Man, the Avengers, Wolverine. These characters are definitely on a different tier. So in my mind, Fantastic Four and the Flash are basically on the same playing field, so I'll call this round a tie as well. Rarity. This round isn't close. Let's turn to the CGC census to see where these books stand. Showcase 4 has 541 copies compared to FF1's 2,674 copies. Or in other words, for every copy of Showcase 4, there are about 5 copies of Fantastic Four number 1. Showcase 4 is exceptionally scarce for a Silver Age book, and therefore wins this round in convincing fashion. Round 5, long-term investment. And to be honest with you, this is a lot closer than I thought. I went all the way back to 1970 and looked at prices then, all the way to the modern day. As a quick note, as with any investment, past performance does not guarantee future return, but it is interesting to take a peek into collecting history. I'm going to start with the first Overstreet price guide from 1970. Then I'll take a look at these 2 books in the 10th Overstreet price guide, 1980, and then one from 1990 as well. And from that point, from 2000 forward, 2000, 2010, and 2020. I'm going to look at GPA analysis data, and I'll take a look at what these two books are selling for today. All right, folks, this is crazy. In 1970, these books were both listed as $10 in fine condition in the Overstreet Price Guide. In 1980, Showcase is $525, and Fantastic Four #1 is $600. Show is $1,200 in 1990, and FF1 is $1,060. Then we go to the GPA analysis. In 2000, Showcase 4 sold for roughly $4,000, and Fantastic Four #1 sold for $3,000. In 2010, Show sold for $10,000, and Fantastic Four for $9,400. In 2020, both books sold for about $30,000. So it's so close between these two books. Now, recently, a Showcase 4 at a 6.0 would be about $50,000, and Fantastic Four #1 and a 6.0 would be $75,000. So that's in 2022. So in essence, these books have been right about the same all the way through 1970, with a recent fluctuation right at the end in favor of Fantastic Four #1. So in this category, I have to give the slight edge to Fantastic Four #1, given they started exactly at the same amount back in 1970, and that Fantastic Four is worth a little bit more today. Okay, all the rounds have been completed. If I were in this position, here's how I would think about it. This is another incredibly tough battle. Personally, I'm more of a Marvel guy, so I like Fantastic Four #1 a little bit better. But all things considered, if I had $100,000, I would take a 7.5 copy of Showcase #4 rather than a 6.5 copy of Fantastic Four #1. This got slightly more historical significance. I really like the cover. It is much rarer than Fantastic Four #1. Relatively speaking, it's a better value in my humble opinion. How about you, my comic book friends? If you had $100,000, would you rather have a copy of Showcase #4 or Fantastic Four #1? Let me know in the comment box below. And if you really like these Grail Showdown videos, check out this playlist. Thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you around real soon.